taps, but the same thing the Muslims had already done in the 9th century AD. We had Hunayn ibn Ishaq, 260 AH, 873 AD. He was a translator scientist, and he was the chief physician of the court of the Khalif Mutawakkil. And he wrote on texts of philosophical texts, geographical, zoological, linguistics, and also religious subjects. 250 million books, 250,000 books are found today in libraries such as the British Library in Spain, in German, and these books, half of them have been stolen from the Islamic world, but yet these people haven't got enough people to research on these. And I'm telling you, half of the things that they're bringing out today of technology and of devices have already been written by Muslims hundreds of years ago. And they're actually lacking in people translating these books. You find that they bring one thing out and they bring another thing out. And even more fascinating is when they bring it out after years, and Muslims have already done it before, like for instance Ibn Haytham, in 430 AH, 1039 AD, he was the best mathematician, and he actually wrote something on optics in Kitabul Manazir, which is a book of optics, and this was translated in 1572 in Latin. And from there they made cameras later on, because he was the first Muslim, or the first person in history to say that light does not travel from the eye to the object, but from the object to the eye. And this was something which he had opened one of the mysteries which they couldn't solve. Anyhow, later on you had Biruni, who was working on specific weights in the 5th century, and Abu Rayhan was also working with him. D.J. Boylott, this is a Westerner, he writes that Biruni was one of the greatest scholars of medieval Islam. And his work just goes from one to the other. So many works he's done. Anyhow, we've got Al-Khazani in 515 AH, 1121 AD. He writes in Mizanul Kitab, the book of the balance of wisdom. He writes about gravity. And he writes specific gravity observation of the rise of liquids of narrow tubes. From there they built aerometers, and they built water clocks. And these water clocks can be found in Spain today, that the Muslim Empire had left behind. And they don't know how to work the water clocks. Because the whole clock, massive clock, used to work on water. Water used to come in and used to rotate the channels, and that water used to go back and it just used to rotate. But what happened is that when they went and they opened the clock to find out how it works, it stopped. And after that they got some books in their libraries, but the books had been deformed. And the books, they lost part of the books. And they couldn't figure out, they still can't figure out how these clocks were built. And we had sarrafs, which were, this is just amazing. In the 5th century itself, there were checks. And the word check has been taken from Arabic, the word sock. Sad, kaf. Sock and check is from the same word. And you could actually go into Baghdad and take a check and cash it in Morocco, which they have written. Amazing. They had a whole system where there was banks, headquarters in Baghdad. They had international trade, control of sea routes. And from these international trades, many non-Muslims were coming and finding out the civilization of Islam, which was a tremendous thing. And navigation techniques, gunpowder and firearms, believe it or not. And this is taken from Callinicus, who was a Syrian architect in Baalabak. He stole one of the new military devices, and he took it to the Byzantine Empire. And the Byzantine Empire now were using it against Islam. And there was a great war for years that was going on. And later on, when the Muslims built the cannon, then they defeated these people, and they also defeated Constantinople. Yeah, in 857 AH, 1453 AD. This is just some of the things which I'm saying. Now, if you want to, for further research, go and get this book, Islamic Technology, by Ahmad Y. Al-Hassan and Donald R. Hill. And you'll see in this, I can't tell you some of the dams they'll build, the rivers in centuries. And you look at the works that they have made. There's Arabic writing in this. If you can, go to the British Museum, and you see a whole section of just Arabic writing. And they're just the technologies and the Islamic developments. This is Islamic Technology, and its ISBN number is 0-521-42239-6. If you want, but it's an excellent book. And if you look in the Holy Quran, Dhul Qarnayn has been mentioned when he built a dam for the Muslims, and that's civil engineering, which is mentioned in the Holy Quran. He said when the Ya'juj and Ma'juj were bothering, Gog and Magog were bothering a nation, he told the people, I'll build a dam for you. And this is in chapter 18, verse number 95 onwards, or 94 onwards. He said, bring me blocks of iron. Hatta idha sawa bayna sadafain, when he had made both cliffs level with all the blocks of iron that he had used. قال انفخوا, then he said, blow with your bellows. And they blew until it became like fire. حتى إذا جعله نارا, until he made it like fire. قال آتوني أفرغ عليه قطرا. He said, now bring me molds of iron so that I can pour it over this metal which I have blown up. فما استطاعوا أن يظهروه. And he made it so strong that Ya'juj and Ma'juj, they actually still existing today. They can neither climb over the wall, وَمَا اسْتَطَاعُوا لَهُ نَقْبًا, and they can't make a hole through the wall. And Allah says that when the hour will come, when the time will come, Allah will destroy this dam and they will come and crash. We'll talk about this some other time. But anyhow, this is civil engineering which is mentioned in the Holy Quran, which is amazing. And please, the whole purpose of me saying this is that so that we may now think that Islam is not just what we've made it to become. It's not just the 5 pillars and stay in the mosque. Islam does not mean just Quran and Hadith. And we've even left the Quran and Hadith. Islam means all of this. And I'm not saying that we should study all these sciences which I've mentioned here and leave the Quran and Hadith out. No. Both need to be studied. And we need men and people and generations to get up and to show the West and the non-Muslims that we are the ones that civilized the earth. And we were the ones that brought civilization to the earth. And it was Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam who had come and who had given us this. And from his teachings. And we need to encourage our children to go into madrasas, and we need to also change the system of our madrasas, where we bring medical schools, we bring laboratories, we bring all these things inside, so that we can advance into the, ahead of these people. And our Muslim children are growing to think that it was the Western people, and it's Europeans and Americans that have built all this. Yet, it is Muslims that have done this. So anyhow, I hope that we will all increase, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase our knowledge in this, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give the tawfiq, ability to do whatever has been said. Jazakumullah.